push the right button this time. All right. Well, welcome to Summit Center for Spiritual Living, where we share universal good through love. And Michael is going to light our candle and explain the significance of it. And happy Easter, everyone.
Yes, and happy Easter to everyone. And we light a candle on Sundays, and the candle of the wick, the wax represents the one. We are all part of the one. The first wick I light is the divinity candle, which means, or the divinity wick, which means, again, the whole idea of the kingdom of heaven is within us. That's something that Jesus and all the great masters and teachers proclaimed. And the second wick I light is the community wick, which means that, again, we together, we shine a much greater light, not only to our community, but also to the world. So thank you for being with us today.
All right. Thank you. And John, you're going to lead us in a song?
All right. Healing Love. Loving awareness I share with you. Let us heal the world with love's awareness too. Healing love, awareness and peace, healing the world with love's increase. Loving goodness I share with you. Let us heal the world with love's goodness too. Healing love, goodness and peace, healing the world with love's increase. Loving kindness I share with you. Let us heal the world with love's kindness too. Healing love, kindness and peace, healing the world with love's increase. Loving gratitude I share with you. Let us heal the world with love's gratitude too. Healing love, gratitude and peace, healing the world with love's increase. Loving blessings I share with you. Let us heal the world with love's blessings too. Healing love, blessings and peace, healing the world with love's increase. Healing the world with love's increase.
Thank you, John. And I wanted to, our special speaker today is going to be Tim Morrow, our other musician, and he'll also be doing some music today as well. And again, it's Easter Day. It's Easter Sunday. So I'm sure he has a special message for us. Next week, the speaker will be John Miller speaking. So, oh, look at the love.
40 bunnies.
Yes. All right. So, yeah, and your buddy Kai. All right. Michael, you want to do 365?
I would love to do that. Well, again, good morning. And again, I love Easter because, again, it's the whole idea of resurrection. It's the whole idea of no matter what has gone on in our lives, that there is hope, and that the hope is in that we not only can we rise again in this life, but also that there is eternal life. That and we think this week of our family member Greg, who made his transition, and Greg was Diana's sister's fiance, so who made the choice to go on. Once he was taken off life support, he was gone in 10 minutes. So he had made the choice, even after, again, prayer work from a lot of us, that again he made the choice again to go on. But our reading today is from April the 20th, and it says, this is from Matthew. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in the field, the which when a man has found, he hideth, for the joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. So just know with me in this prayer, because I am one with God, I am one with all people. Because I am one with life, I am one with everything that lives. I feel my union with people and with nature. I feel that I belong to life. I love life, and I enter into that joy of living today. I enter into the companionship with others, into cooperation with them. And I know that something within me reaches out and embraces the whole world. Something within me blesses everything it touches, bringing life and happiness and joy to everyone. Something in me acts as a healing balm, restoring everything to its natural native perfection. As I silently listen to the spirit within me and think of its perfection, I know that I am being born into joy and hope and gladness, born into love and faith and assurance. So silently, I release every negative thought and belief from my mind. I release it and I let it go. And I too pray that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me and I in thee, and that they also may be one in us. Science of Mind 365.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So, Tim, you want to lead us? You want to do a song, and I'll do the meditation.
Okay, we'll do, if it's all right with you. Instrumental.
And as we just take in a deep breath, just release and relax and just let go. Let's take in another deep breath. And as you relax, just exhale love. So as we breathe in peace, we exhale love. Peace and love. For there is only one power, one presence, one mind, one activity. And that one is Spirit, God, Creator, the all that is. And because the Creator, the all that is, that God is created everything, is in everything, as everything, through everything, that means that He has created me and everyone else. Also means the trees and the birds and the grass and the mountains and the hills and the oceans and the valleys, flowers, the insects, the animals, the ocean life, the whales and dolphins. Everything is God. Everything is present. This beautiful planet, this beautiful solar system, part of this beautiful universe, and the many universes that beyond. So knowing this, knowing that Spirit is everywhere, in us, as us, and through us, that means that we are one with that peace, the love, the joy, the beauty, the power, the light, the life, the love, the wisdom that God is. And I now speak my word for Summit Center for Spiritual Living. And each individual that is a part of us, I know that anyone that may be having some health challenges, that it is getting better every moment. They are being returned back to the wholeness that they are already. They're able to feel it and see it and experience it. I specifically want to mention Carol Ann Drick, Deb Haley, my sister-in-law Linda Hessler, that are all having a few challenges right now, but that they are getting better, that their healing is happening because they already are whole, perfect, complete, and that they are able to not only see that, but they feel that as well throughout their body. So with that, I'm also grateful for our little group with opportunity to be able to be together. I know for Tim, as he speaks today, his words are powerful. They are healing. They are beautiful. And they are God's words, speaking through him and as him. The music by him and John, same thing. It's music that is happening through God, as them. I also speak my word for Michael and Hannah and Kyle and Wayne, Deb, that are, I'm sure they are here. And anybody who may be watching or listening seeing this broadcast later. I also know for those who are dealing with the loss, with grief, that the grief is being subsided, and they're getting peace and comfort because God is always there and never puts anything that we can't handle, and that the grief is eased and is replaced with love and peace. So with all this, I give thanks. I give thanks on this beautiful Resurrection Sunday. That resurrection for everybody is happening, always. Resurrection of love, of peace, of joy. I once again give thanks. I give thanks for the opportunity for each and every one of us that come together. And I am just grateful and thankful. And I now release my word into the law, which never says no, it only says yes. Yes to every thought, every feeling that is happening right now. That beautiful peace, love, and joy. And so it is, and so I let it be. Thank you, Tim. And as you open your eyes and open your cameras, please take a moment to look into the camera and look at each other's eyes and see the magnificent spirit that is within you and each other. So I like this part. This is my favorite part. All right. Well, thank you. I am now going to turn our time over to Tim for his wonderful talk. And have a great. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. And thank you for having me do this morning. So happy Easter again. And this morning we'll be exploring the metaphysics and symbolism of this time of the year when nature begins to wake up and bring new life after a long 4 or 5 month hibernation. And it's certainly no coincidence that the high holy days of both the Jewish and Christian traditions fall on this time of the year. Our Jewish brothers and sisters are celebrating the last day of Passover today in remembrance of their ancestors' experience of passing over from bondage to freedom. And an important part of that celebration is to go back and reread the story in the book of Exodus, in the Torah, or what most people call the Old Testament. And of course, in the Christian tradition, the Easter holiday is the most important day of the year, as they commemorate the events that unfold in the four Gospels in the New Testament. That is the story of the central figure in their religion, Jesus of Nazareth, rising from the dead and rolling away the stone from his gravesite 3 days after the brutal execution he endured. So whenever I taught Bible classes during my time as a staff minister at the Tri-City Religious Science Center, I noticed that the question on everyone's mind was always, how historically accurate is all this stuff we read in the scriptures, like the Passover or Easter stories? And I would go a little bit into my own conclusions based on my own studies, but then I'd have to say, ultimately, it doesn't matter. Was Jesus even a historical or mythological figure? It really doesn't matter. What matters is the great truth that the stories are pointing to. Both of these stories are not just about events in the Middle East that supposedly happened 2,000 or 4,000 years ago. They're symbols of a great awakening that's always ready to happen within each of us, an awakening to a greater understanding of who and what you are, and in turn, the unfolding of greater good in your world and your life experience. And even centuries before Judaism or Christianity crystallized as formal religions, people throughout the world were telling stories and practicing rituals to awaken themselves to this greater understanding. And by the way, we get the name of this holiday, Easter, not from anything biblical, but from the ancient pagan celebration of the goddess Ishtar, who symbolized spring, rebirth, and fertility. And this would take place on the vernal equinox, when there are equal parts light and darkness to the day. And the hare, H-A-R-E, the animal often mistaken for a rabbit, was her main symbol, as it was noted to be very fertile and capable of producing many offspring. Many of the traditions that our culture has adopted into the modern holiday of Easter are direct descendants of this ancient pagan tradition. The magic bunny who comes around when everyone is asleep and hides colorful eggs in the yard and fills the children's Easter baskets with candy and goodies. I always thank the ancient societies such as the Sumerians and Babylonians and Celtics for the rituals and traditions that evolved into the fun children's fests we have with modern holidays like Halloween, Christmas, and Easter. So first, let's take a quick look at the Passover story and what it teaches us. Now, this is the short version. If you want all the details of it, you can always go back and read the book of Exodus, dust off that old Bible on your shelves, or rent the old Cecil B. DeMille movie with, who was it, Charlton Heston playing Moses? But essentially, it starts with a backdrop of the country of Egypt around the 14th or early 13th century BCE. And the Hebrew tribes were living there as slaves and second-class citizens, and they were begging God to get them out of there and set them up in a land of their own. And as often happens in this sort of situation, a great leader popped up. In this case, it was a man named Moses. He was a Hebrew by birth, but was raised by Egyptian royalty. So he had spent his adult life living in luxury and getting the finest education available, but realized what a corrupt political climate it was there. So he had to abandon that life and lived his older adult life in the wilderness as a shepherd in a country called Midian. So he had taken the time for intellectual preparation and spiritual preparation. And so God had a talk with him one day and told him, You're the man for the job. I need you to lead these people out of the bondage of Egypt and into their own land, which I had promised their ancestors centuries before. So Moses reluctantly agreed to this monstrous task. And after a lot of blowback from the Egyptian Pharaoh and a lot of divine intervention, he led the 12 tribes out of Egypt. And that was many thousands of people we're talking about. And they were ready to go straight into this land called Canaan that God had told them was to be their sovereign nation. And Moses was ready to lead them in there. But God told him, not so fast, bud. These people need to learn to live as a free nation first. So they spent the next 40 years as Bedouin tribes in the desert. And during this time, Moses developed a legal system for them to govern themselves for when the time came they were ready. But the sad part of the story is that Moses could look over the mountain and see this promised land, but couldn't lead them into it. God told him, sorry, Moses, but your job is done and it's time for you to experience the afterlife. So he died, and his right-hand man and scribe, Joshua, took over as leader and led them into this promised land. Now, looking at the metaphysics of this, Moses represents the consciousness that we develop to get us out of the darkness and out of a catastrophic situation. How many of you have ever been at a point in life where you've lived with financial difficulties or even poverty or a health crisis or an abusive relationship of some sort, and you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired? You've had enough. And you start listening to that still small voice within telling you that there is a better way. And it begins leading you to the solutions to your problems. And you begin getting your life healed. But then you find yourself in unfamiliar territory that you're unable to navigate through because the problems were part of your identity for so long. So you need to take the time to learn to live with the newfound freedom or health or happiness or love in your life as it pops up. That's what the 40 years that the Hebrew people spent living in the desert represents. And whenever you see that number 40 in the scriptures, never take it literally. It's always meant to be a symbol of the time it takes to prepare for a new experience or a new consciousness. Just like the person I'll be talking about in just a minute, Jesus spent his time in the desert to prepare for his ministry. How many days does it say? 40. So the Hebrew people could have been dwelling in that desert for 5 or 10 years or 1. It doesn't specify, but it was the time they needed to stop identifying as slaves under the thumb of the Egyptian rulers and start identifying as a free nation. And that's the challenge we have as students of this teaching or teachings like it. Stop identifying as a person who is living with the problem and start identifying as a person who's living with the blessing. That doesn't mean your life will be problem-free, but you'll have higher class problems. You know, instead of worrying about how you're going to pay the rent next month, you're worrying about finding a financial advisor who can teach you how to manage the higher tax bracket you're now living in. So, having spent that time in the desert, the Hebrew people were ready to follow Joshua into their new life in this country of their own and form a new nation. So Joshua, or Yeshua as a more proper pronunciation in this story, represents that consciousness that leads you into the light. That is the understanding you develop as you learn to live with a life of greater good and learn to define yourself as that life, looking for a place to happen. We could call it the Christ consciousness. Now, speaking of that, there's another person in the Bible with that same name, Yeshua or Joshua. But when the people compiled stories about this one, they didn't want the readers to confuse him with the Joshua in the Old Testament, so they used the Greek pronunciation of his name, which was what? Jesus. And like the Joshua in the Old Testament, Jesus represents that consciousness of moving into the light. His forerunner, John the Baptist, represents the consciousness of moving out of the darkness, as did Moses in that previous story. And like John the Baptist, Jesus came along at a time when this promised land that his ancestors had occupied all those centuries earlier wasn't doing so well by this time. It was now under the rule of the Roman Empire, which could be brutal when angered, and the Jewish authorities had a habit of being corrupt at times. And whenever I get depressed about the current political climate in our country, I remind myself of the climate that Jesus grew up in. And yet, rather than doing what most people did at that time, being perpetually angry about the way things were, he chose to be an example of what was right with the world. And even when he was arrested by the Jewish authorities and set up for persecution and finally sentenced to death, what did he say when he was dying that horrible death on the cross? Anyone remember? God forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, I'm hoping and accepting that no one here ever has to demonstrate that level of radical forgiveness, but it's a good affirmation for whenever you feel that the world isn't behaving the way it should. And then what happened next in the story is pretty well known. He died, he was placed in a tomb, and then 3 days later, he rose up, rolled away the stone from the front of the tomb, and then came back into his physical body for a final visit with a few lessons with his disciples. And then, according to scripture, rose up into heaven. Now, did that really happen? Again, I don't know. I wasn't there. That's a discussion for another time. What matters is where the story is pointing. This is a Middle Eastern way of teaching an important lesson on getting your life healed. It's an illustration of letting the new experience come forth. Anything that's kept you out of the light of day, remember, the light of day is yours by right of consciousness, and you can always roll away the stone of confusion, or roll away the stone of hurt, or roll away the stone of fill in the blank. Just about the time you think everything is over and dying and losing its color and charm, and everything gets cold and dark and windy and rainy, something happens, a change. The new life begins to spring forth. Remember, yesterday's understanding and yesterday's awareness and experience are not good enough for today, because today is always new. There's nothing wrong with reminiscing about fond memories of the past, especially when you get together with an old friend you haven't seen in many years. But when you make it a habit of lamenting for the good old days, that's when you often find yourself living in a good old days, spelled D-A-Z-E. So why not challenge yourself to create some good new days in the time that's before us? So whatever situation you're currently needing to be healed, or whatever change for the better you're seeking, remember it's ready to unfold right here and right now. You may not know what to do or how to do it, but there is that within you that does know. Why? Because you are a perfect expression of this infinite intelligence that many people call God or spirit. And you don't need to wait for any certain time of the year, nor do you need to be part of any certain religion. What is required is for you to recognize this truth of yourself and begin to learn to live with the greater good in your world. Just as we're advised by Henry David Thoreau, let me make sure I have it in front of me, by Henry David Thoreau about 170 years ago. He said, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined. As you simplify your life, the laws of the universe will be simpler." And by Dr. Ernest Holmes from the Science of Mind textbook, we're given this advice: the renewing of the mind is a scientific act. As the conscious thoughts pour into the subjective channels of creative energy, the body is automatically renewed. This is mental healing. Mental healing is a conscious act as well as an established fact in the experience of many people. So instead of the old concepts of disease and failure, we are to inject those of liberty, freedom, health, harmony, and success. Okay, thank you, Dr. Holmes. So I invite everyone at this meeting to take up this challenge and let it be your way. And so it is.
That was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I love it.
Thank you.
It's very it's very easy to understand the way you did it. It was so simple, and I really like when you said the word you used instead of being in that daze, DAZE. And we need to be in the days of seeing of knowing and seeing what we want. I thought that was absolutely awesome. I am going to turn this over to whoever else
Oh,
may
the good old days. I'm in the good old days now.
Well, first of all, Tim, that was outstanding. And so if you ever want to become a minister, give me a call. I can I'll hook you up to the right people. Not necessarily CSL, but I think that was wonderful. And that the whole idea, again, whether it's still debated whether or not that there was a physical resurrection. It doesn't matter. What matters, again, is the whole idea that something drove the early believers to go out there. And again, it was the reappearance of Jesus in many, many forms. So I think that's the hope of Easter. Again, that not only do we have life eternal, which the resurrection shows, but also that we can use that same power in our lives now. And that your story about days, old-fashioned days, always reminds me of the story of Florence Scovel Shinn. She had a friend who came up and started to get into let's have an old-fashioned conversation of all the problems and everything else in the past. And Mrs. Shinn says, no. Let's have a new fashioned conversation of what we want in our lives rather than what we don't want. See, and again, the whole symbolism of the weekend is again that of rising above.
Mhm.
of no matter if if you have borne a cross, is that the time of darkness, there is a time of light. So again, the whole idea of getting beyond the story and getting into the symbolism, I think, is what you came across and did very, very well. So thank you. Thank you so very much. That was great.
Great. Is there any other comments?
I like the term.
Well, that was great. Doug has something to say.
I like using the term life to life instead of someone dies and then goes to the other side. I like just saying passing from life to life. You just shed the body.
Didn't quite hear that. John, could you repeat it?
Saying that she likes the idea of moving from life to life rather than talking about death and then new life, but moving to just leaving the shell of the body and moving to another form of life.
Oh, wonderful.
Very nicely done, Tim. Yeah, that was remarkably like a talk I do on Easter, which I did a little reprise of for my Yes Wise Inspiry this weekend.
Oh, gotta take a look. I gotta take a look at that.
Yeah. Well,
I was going to say that
mini
J.
version.
Scott Neal would be, he's smiling from the other side. Saying, well done.
Absolutely. Okay, well, Tim, you want to do a song for us then?
Sure. Sorry, should have been preparing for this while you all were commenting. In the bowl there is a flower, in the seed an apple tree, in cocoons a hidden promise, butterflies will soon be free. In the cold and snow of winter, there's a spring that waits to be unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. There's a song in every silence, seeking word and melody. There's a dawn in every darkness, bringing hope to you and me. From the past will come the future, what it holds a mystery, unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. In our end is our beginning, in our time infinity. In our doubt there is believing, in our life eternity. In our death a resurrection, at the last a victory. Unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. Unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see.
Oh, thank you. That was beautiful. All right. That is absolutely beautiful. So it is that time in our service where have the opportunity to give. That can be done through, you can go to Zelle or you can go to PayPal, either one, and you would go to SSC of Akron, AKRON, at gmail.com. And you can give that way. That's SSC of Akron at gmail.com. Or if you want to just send a check or a money order or even cash, but I suggest one or the other. You can send that with the make sure the word summit is on there. And you would send that to 1199 Lexington Avenue, Akron, Ohio, 44310. Okay, so as we symbolically take our gifts, right top over left, just know with me that all that we have, all that we give, all that we receive, it's blessed in a very gracious manner, and that it goes to the work of Summit Center, and it goes to the truth that sets us free. And so it is. Amen. Okay, good, more good, John.
Good and more good is mine, and ever increasing good is mine. Unlimited, infinite good is mine. Wherever I go, I see good. Whatever I do, I feel oh so good. I'm worthy and entitled to good and more good. Good crowds itself upon us, wraps itself around us. We give ourselves permission to accept more good, express more good. Good, more good is ours, and ever increasing good is ours. Thank you, Spirit, and so it is.
All right, thank you. And it's time for announcements.
ntmedia.org is where I spend most of my week. And if you go to ntmedia.org/prayer, you can go ahead and you can send us a prayer request anytime. This group, again, please feel free to call either myself or Diana or really anybody else here. But if you'd like prayer through ntmedia.org/prayer. The one thing I wanted to share with you again, I've been working with Dr. Ruth Miller, who is the president now of Emerson Institute. And Dr. Miller has been sharing on, we've been doing a program called New Thought Roots and Branches. It's a great show. It will give you a graduate education in the history of New Thought. So if you just go to New Thought Media Network and just go to the YouTube page, it's there. It's called, again, it's New Thought Roots and Branches. We'll be this week at 6 o'clock on Tuesday. We'll be doing Emma Curtis Hopkins. So again, it's great. Just go see it. It really is wonderful. No subscription, but if you want to go ahead and subscribe and just get notified, again, that's great too. Again, there's no fee to that. But just go take a look at it, because I think it really gives and makes me appreciate, as I listen to it, the rich history of New Thought, and that it's many roots and branches. So thank you.
And that 6 o'clock is Eastern time.
Yes.
So,
6 o'clock Eastern time on your New Thought Media Network.
okay. All right. John, do you have any?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I put up a kind of an Easter version of my YesWise Inspiry blog, which you can see at yeswise.com, and many other ones are also there. YesWise Inspiry at yeswise.com.
All right. Okay. Well, I don't think there's any other announcements. So with that, it is time to do our moment of silence. And this is the time where you can when you bring to mind any of those people or yourself or the world that may need some extra healing. So let's ring this in, and I'll ring us out. The light of God surrounds us. God unfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
We are the people of love. We are the people of love. Sing out, people, sing out love. We are the people of love. We are the people of peace. We are the people of peace. Sing out, people, sing out peace. We are the people of peace. We are the people of joy. We are the people of joy. Sing out, people, sing out joy. We are the people of joy. We are the people of love. We are the people of love. Sing out, people, sing out love. We are the people of love. We are the people of love.
All right. Thank you so much. And this actually ends our service for today. But come back next week when John will be our speaker, and we'll have to make a decision as to what we're going to do for May. We haven't done that yet, but we'll
We
figure
may
that out.
decide what to do.
Yes, exactly. But anyways, so Hannah, you can end our service for us, and then we can, once we know that, we can just be free to talk.